Yeah, the link should be up in it right there now, Mike. I think you can grab it off here.
I got it, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Scott, for what you do for us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Emmy. Well, I don't turn my camera on very much.
Is your turtle grown any since you took that last picture?
Oh yeah, he's huge.
Time for another picture then.
Yeah, we brought him in the house this winter for the last winter he's ever going to spend in the house.
Have to, yeah.
He spent most of the winter in the kitchen, and when he goes to the bathroom, you can smell through the whole house. It smells like you just walked into a barn with about 20 cows in it.
Oh.
So I'm looking forward to building a house for him for next winter, so he doesn't have to come in here and stay warm. It's just too cold outside for him in the wintertime. So
Sounds wise. With a little heat lamp or something.
yeah, well, I have a heat lamp. I got to rig something up better than what I have. He has like a dog igloo, you know, for a dog, but it doesn't have any heat. We have a heating pad for him, but I don't know. It should be mounted on the wall instead of where it's at. It doesn't do a very good job, especially when it's 40 degrees outside overnight. It's just too cold.
Is he smart enough to get on it?
Yeah, he is. He is. But you know Ken Shaw. He says turtles are the dumbest animals in the world. But he was in for the winter. It took him just a couple of nights to get back into the igloo when the sun goes down. Because all last summer he'd go in before the sun would go down. He'd go into his little house and hide out. And then the first few nights he didn't catch on right away. We'd have to pick him up and put him in it. But now he's right back to the routine, going in every night. And he's almost 30, 40 pounds now, so he's getting too heavy to pick up.
Oh my, that's a very old photo then.
That was the first photo. That was the first photo when we picked him up. He's actually covered in sand there. When I washed him off, the color of him came out much lighter. That's the first day I found him on the riverbed when I was just out for a walk.
Sandy,
We didn't go looking for him. He just was walking down the bike trail with us when we were out there. He escaped from a breeder.
Are you sure he doesn't think the igloo's just another big turtle?
Maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe he's calling into a
It
bigger
kind of look like it.
Hi, Jade.
Hi there.
Hi, Jade.
Hi, Karen.
Hey, Jade.
We'd always tried to get Karen to come, but then since she moved to the desert, it was like way too far. So this is real handy, right?
Oh, this is way handy. This is way handy.
So
You know, because it's a 100-mile drive for
Oh,
us to come down there.
Right. So welcome.
I'm glad to be here finally.
So how is your place with all the fires that were so close by?
Well, I was telling MA and Cliff that in the fires, our immediate area only had like fingers of fire that came in. It burned all out in front of our house, 50 feet from the front of the house, and it came up the hill to within 50 feet of the back of the house.
Oh, that's scary.
And then we lost 84 houses in our community and 250 outbuildings.
Oh my God.
And a lot, acres and acres and acres are just burned to nothing. Just dirt.
And no rain. We haven't had any rain.
Oh, we had maybe a 2 feet of snow over the winter, you know, in small accumulations, and maybe 5 or 6 inches of rain. We have a good crop of weeds though.
Any wildflowers?
You know, it burned so hot and there was so little rain that I put out 10 pounds of wildflowers and we have gotten nothing. But a lot of grass, a lot of what do they call it? Red brome, a lot of that, and that's about it.
It's too bad.
It's really sad. We saw day before yesterday, we saw one of the jackrabbits that we had seen prior to the fire, and that was the first time we'd seen him. And we know it was him because he's got 3 ears.
Wow.
Really weird. And all 3 of them work. They, it's
Interesting.
like they move, all
Wow.
3 of them move separately.
Huh.
Wow.
How interesting.
That's
So
amazing.
did he look real skinny, or how did he look?
He looked really good, but I've been putting out alfalfa
Uh-huh.
for the animals to eat.
Right.
Because if we have rats and squirrels and chipmunks and rabbits and jackrabbits, then the coyotes, the bobcats, the mountain lion,
Right.
the hawks and the owls all have something to eat.
Hmm.
So you got to start at the bottom.
Right.
So I'm feeding all the rodents.
Support
Have you
the food
had any
chain.
contact with the Veterans Building in Culver City as to when they might open?
I haven't talked to Gretchen lately. I'll probably be calling her next week.
It's her birthday tomorrow.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe I'll call her tomorrow then.
It just came up on my calendar.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'll call her tomorrow. I'll make a note of that right now.
Well, I wanted to have more California natives in my garden. And Laurel just identified this like weed that's driving me crazy. And it happens to be a California native. Broom
Ooh.
straw.
Bed straw.
What?
Straw,
Oh,
not
bed straw.
bed straw. It's gallium.
Oh, that stuff. Oh, that
Yeah.
sticks to everything.
That's
It
what I sent a text it sticks to your clothing and the seeds also stick.
Right,
How
right.
to get distributed.
And when you pull it up, I mean, there's usually a group of it. You have to be really
Oh, yeah,
careful.
it's a long, kind of windy stem.
Yeah. This isn't my idea of what I wanted for more natives.
Can you show us a picture, Jade?
Let's see.
Just send it to me.
No, I am doing a little bit more native also. Like it was by accident. I just like planted something and was it doing really, really good? And I have like this much space. So it's like, what is this? And then I just learned it is a native. So I went to Theodore Penn Foundation. I don't know whether you guys know. They grow only native plants.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's just like, they were just very helpful. So I went there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning.
Yep.
Yes, some of the natives are not necessarily stuff you really want.
Yeah, this gallium has a very tiny white flower. So it's not grown for its flowers. It's really just kind of a curiosity. It got the name bed straw because it actually was gathered and put into like pillows, so that you'd actually have kind of a fluffy, support at night for your head. So
It does smell good when it dries. It does
Yeah.
kind of smell good.
yeah, no, it's not offensive. There are actually 2 species. One is this kind of rampant one that is weedy. There's also a little shrubby one, which is much tamer and not nearly so aggressive. Got your picture?
This is in the neck.
That gallium that grows all over England. I mean, there's tons of it in England, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it a worldwide plant?
I have it at my
We
front
called it-
porch.
We called it sticky willy.
Yeah,
then
it's
what
really
you-
sticky.
What you
Yeah.
do is you get some of it and you throw it at somebody's back, and they
Right.
walk off and they don't know it's stuck
Yeah.
on their back.
They don't know it's there.
We were so grown up.
Well, it's done here too, Mike, so it's nothing unusual.
Laurel, do you leave it there on purpose?
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's manageable. I keep it under control.
You like it?
Takes the irrigation when I water the plants at the front entryway.
So you keep it, you're not trying to get rid of it?
No, it's just, I'm sure I brought it from the South Coast Botanic Garden, and it just kind of got established at my front entryway, which is a very small little, rectangle of soil. So it just stays in there and doesn't bother me.
Okay, this bothers me because it's all over Kingdom Come.
Well,
And
it sounds like you have a lot bigger problem than I do. I mean, it's
well,
only
I mean, it's,
one spot. It's nowhere else in the yard.
oh, yeah, I've seen it. You don't notice it, and then it makes like a big, a big clump of it.
Yeah.
And, and it's mixed in with the Santa Barbara daisy. So
Well,
it's like,
that's kind of a problem, yeah. Yeah, if you don't pull it out, it'll take over the daisy. It'll cover it and sort of take the light away from the daisy.
well, the daisies are
it'll
pretty strong.
The seeds will stick to your pants or to your socks, and you'll drag it
Yeah.
all over the yard.
Right.
Well, and also the leaves do too,
Yeah,
because they're sticky.
it's got Velcro hooks all over it.
And then at the end of it, it has these little like needle things too. It's
Oh.
definitely designed to live.
Yes.
And be distributed.
Right.
No, I didn't go anything crazy.
California
I have
native.
some like a hukra and then some sage, California native sage. I have some like buckwheat, like normal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's all good. It's good for the
Yeah.
butterflies and the bees.
yeah,
Good for the native bees. It'll bring you native
Yeah.
bees to your yard.
yeah.
What kind of flies did you say? What flies?
Butterflies, yeah.
Butterflies.
Butterflies. Thank you.
The sage, yeah.
Yeah, probably got clipped off somehow with Zoom.
Nice to see so many faces.
Yeah, it's Sally.
Hey, without mask, right?
Yes. It's the only way to see people without masks.
Yeah, it's kind of hard when you go, when I was at that sale yesterday, it's kind of hard. You kind of got to go, okay, now who's that? Let me think. Who is that?
How was the sale?
It was okay. It was pretty good. We weren't there for long. We were only there about 2 hours.
Well,
We
that's
just went, we
quite a
wanted
while.
to see people,
Yeah.
and now I've got my shot. I can go see people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my second shot too.
My second shot would be this Saturday, like for me and my husband. So then it's free to go everywhere.
Yeah.
And if everybody has had their second shot, everybody the second
Oh,
hand up.
yeah,
Shot.
I'm going to
Okay,
have next
that's good.
week. Next week.
Mono, have you had your second shot?
No, I just had my first. I
When
was
do
in the
you,
category, I just got my first shot.
when do you get your second?
May, 1st of May.
Oh, for,
That's not too far off.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I just hit 60. So they hit 60.
Congratulations,
I
Lamona.
was in the first year.
I think he's got to be the youngest with us here.
Kid,
Just a
Lamona.
kid.
I was like a dog after a bone trying to get in. That's a website's a big pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally ended up calling around and finding one and then going online right away and getting it.
Yeah.
But we spent hours trying to get our first shot.
a lot of people had. that.
Me
Yeah,
too.
my mother did. I did with my mother. She was 83, and I was there with her at Cadillac at Kaiser for like 3 hours.
I did Kaiser.
Mm.
Kaiser was great though, compared to other places you actually got to talk to a human. And
Oh.
I don't even belong to Kaiser, but they were,
Well, yeah. No, my Kaiser experience wasn't bad in Bellflower, but I'll tell you the best was my wife. She got hers at UCLA, and she was in and out in 20 minutes.
Oh,
where was she? Where was your wife?
UCLA,
Oh, yeah,
UCLA, in
Hi,
Westlake.
Anita.
right.
For me, somebody sent me a link and said like, oh, go to this link. One of my customer, so like, go to this link and then make an appointment. So I went to the link and they have one appointment in Dodger Stadium, one appointment left.
Oh,
And then I just took it like at 4:30 and I went on like 8 o'clock. So from here to Dodger Stadium, short and back was like whole thing, including driving, was like 2 hours. So it was in and out.
You could spend that amount of time on the internet, just pressing buttons, trying to get in some.
Yeah, that was, I didn't have to do that because somebody sent me a link like, okay, use this link, then it's going to work. So that
Well,
was really fast for me.
I signed up for the email on the website, but I just happened to be checking because they were going to open up for the 55 to 64-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I checked it like in the middle of the day, maybe at 11 o'clock, and they were taking appointments. It was on like the last day of March or something. They were taking appointments. And I think the appointment started on a Thursday, but they had Thursday and Friday were all taken. I got it in Saturday morning. I left the house and was back in a half hour. It's just like a 5-minute drive from my house. It took me longer to find the entrance to the parking lot to get in than anything else. And the 15
There's nothing a half an hour from my house.
girlfriend went to Dodger Stadium and she was gone for over 4 hours.
Oh
one day.
God. Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
Before that, I
went to
spent
Dodger
2
Stadium, was gone
days,
for
yeah.
way over 4 hours. So they opened up one. You guys have been mentioning Kaiser in Bellflower. They've opened up one just south of Kaiser, the emergency room at the county educational. I think it's for young kids education. It's like the offices. It's not a school or anything.
Yeah.
But they've been doing it there for about a month, and that place just runs like clockwork. You're in and out of there in about 10 minutes. If you get an appointment over there, that's the place to go.
And you,
In Downey, right?
Yeah. Downey,
That's a county, that was county run, and I
Right.
went to the forum, which was county run, and it was just smooth as could be. It took me, I live about an hour from there, so 2 hours total. And I was in and out within the 20 minutes, 15-minute wait. It was great. The county was really well organized. Whereas Dodger Stadium is city run in LA. That's why it backed up so badly. It had a whole different group
Yeah.
running it.
I got an appointment at El Camino because it was the first thing that came up, and El Camino didn't give you a second appointment. And then
Ooh.
nobody else wants to give you a second appointment except Kaiser. You could do it, so that was lucky.
Yeah, Kaiser will let you get in if you've gotten a first shot from someone else. You can still get a second shot from them, I think.
Which was
Oh.
great because a lot of people wouldn't do that.
But when I signed up for mine, it signed me up for the second one like automatically right away.
Right.
Well, it
Right.
should be.
I don't know why it doesn't do that for everybody.
I
No,
think,
I-
when
I
did
went
you,
to- I went to Dodger Stadium, and the next day they automatically send us the second appointment. You didn't have to
Yeah.
do anything. It was like so
Yeah.
great.
that My Turn website wouldn't
that's
let me
horrible.
finish until I did my second appointment with them. They told me the date, all I had to do was pick the time. But that
Right.
was not, I think I got in at the second month in February. So if you got something earlier than that, they weren't quite as organized
Yeah.
with the second shot. Anyway, most of us got it. Yay.
well, Rite Aid was very good for me. It was right here in Torrance, and they automatically provided the second appointment. So card and everything, and no waiting. You just, walk up and present your papers, and they take you in.
Fantastic.
So should we get started?
Yes.
I don't think we can start until
Yeah, it's
1:30.
not quite half past.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready to introduce you. At 1:30.
Okay.
Yeah, some people don't come on until 1:30.
Oh, okay.
This
Okay.
is the social time, the social 30 minutes.
I'm still looking for the goodies like a coffee and the cookies in the bag. We miss that. Yeah.
And we don't
Mike,
have a
this-
kitchen to run
Mike.
to and look for snacks.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. They're looking in the kitchen for snacks.
Has everybody seen my kitty? My adopted kitty?
Oh,
This is Tim Schreiber's cat.
so cute.
Oh,
Is she gorgeous?
yes.
Score.
Her name is Miss Kitty. I inherited her with that name, but she's.
That was the name you
just
put
a baby.
Gave to the cat.
Pardon me?
That was the name that Dick Coldriver gave to
Her
the kid?
name was Kitty, and I just rearranged it and called it Miss Kitty. The vet calls it Miss Kitty.
Yeah, you remember
So-
Gunsmoke?
Yes.
Remember the
exactly.
TV
Oh my
series
God,
Gunsmoke?
we're not talking
I know.
about that. Let's not talk about that.
That's not the right kitty.
Hey, Laurel,
Anyway, she was Dick's kitty, and she is just as sweet as can be. And every time I get on a Zoom, she has to come in and see who's talking because she sleeps most of the day. She's old, but she's sweet.
So how did you get her?
How did I get her?
Uh-huh.
I know Dick. I knew
Oh,
Dick.
Dick. Oh,
and
that's right. Dick
Cole
Schreiber.
Schreiber, yeah. And I had offered to foster her when he had to leave his house for a while, but he was able to take her with him to the retirement senior living place while they worked on his house. And unfortunately got sick and passed away then. And so his nephews and nieces knew I had offered. So they called right away and said, "You still interested?" And I don't know how much wine I had had before that. Sure. I don't have my dog anymore, and I haven't had a cat in 35 years. And the only thing I had to get used to was where to put the cat box. It was like, don't have
Guess
a
what?
laundry room.
The
Who's-
birthday girl is here.
Who?
Gretchen.
Whose birthday? Gretchen?
Gretchen,
Happy
Yeah,
birthday,
Gretchen, turn your video on.
Gretchen.
oh, and Gary's here.
Oh, hi, Gary.
Where are you, Gary?
Gary
You
was
muted yourself.
He's on
he
mute.
got in really late last night, so he's probably a little crazy,
A little tired, yeah.
more than usual.
Does that mean we can say what we like about him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he can hear us even though we can't hear him. Laurel, how are things opening up at the South Coast?
I don't
Any-
know. You can talk to Sally. She knows more about it than I do.
They're open. It's been open. It's been open the whole time. You make reservations online. I've
any
been,
meeting- What about meeting space? Any,
no,
Was
no, no,
there-
no, no, no. No, they're not having any meetings there. I don't know of any events. If they're having an event, it would be very limited people. I know Jim Gardner and I have started volunteering in their green team. And the green team is come in and the gardeners tell you where they want you to weed and prune and do all that sort of thing. So we've been doing that. But you have to wear masks and you have to do this whole, you take your own temperature and you fill out a form every morning before you're allowed to come in online. You fill it in online. There's training online, but they're looking for people to help out, volunteer for the butterfly pavilion. And now there's something new they put online for new volunteers for families and children and stuff like that. There's usually a long line to get in when I leave at 11. And so if you go there, go early if you
Yeah.
can, but you still
Yeah,
have
I
to
would-
have your ticket.
Right. I was just there for my wife's birthday and we made reservations and we walked right in on
Yeah. It
Thursday.
depends on the Thursday. Okay.
we were there on Thursday.
Yeah. Every Thursday, I was there Thursday. Every Thursday that I'm there, it's fine early. And then by 11, there's a line, but they're going to the butterfly pavilion too. So
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of kids, so that's where they were going.
Yeah.
That's where these little kids were going.
Mm-hmm.
so what's happening to propagation?
nothing right now. They have not reopened it. They aren't going to reopen it right away. And I doubt it'll ever be the same. So we'll see.
How about, are they going to allow people like in movie halls, like if you are fully vaccinated and if you have your CDC card, then you are allowed to do the meetings? Can they like at least open to that?
I don't know. They're pretty strict. They're a county facility. So they're very strict about the rules there. And the foundation, I'm not sure. I think it's the foundation now and has been to rent the spaces out, but they haven't allowed us to come back for our club meetings. I know that.
They not say that we are pretty old people. We are all fully vaccinated, so we can go.
Nobody has asked those questions yet about being vaccinated. I haven't had
Yeah.
anyone ask me those questions.
You know, they need to kind of revise and start asking that question.
Yeah.
They'll want you to wear a mask, even though you've been fully vaccinated.
Well, I hear that we might have another wave if we're not careful here as
Yeah.
well. They're having some problems in Nebraska, of all places,
Yeah, I
you know, probably Florida by now too.
Yes.
Right now,
yeah.
our numbers are going up.
Ours are here.
Hey,
Yeah. So,
I don't
you know,
I don't know how
spring
long it's
break
gonna
and
last. I don't know
what?
how long it's gonna last, but they're saying that even if you're fully vaccinated, you still have to have a negative test before you get on an airplane. No,
Oh, yes.
Even
Oh,
with
yes.
full vaccination, you still have to have a test within a certain amount of hours of getting on the plane.
72. Yeah. Usually it's
Wow.
72 hours.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh, wow. I
yeah,
didn't
they're
know
not there yet. They're not sure if you can be a carrier and not be asymptomatic as well.
well, good morning, folks. It's just about 1:30.
Yeah.
So welcome. I'm not Maria. I'm
See, you're
MA.
not. Ha!
I'm not.
You sure
But
look
I
like
am
Emmy to
MA,
me.
and I'm your vice president. And Maria was unable to be here right now, so I want to welcome you to our monthly Zoom meeting. And again, we got to thank Scott and his turtle and his dime, is that, for making this meeting possible.
It's a quarter.
Because without Scott, we couldn't do it. And our program, we have co-program folks, so I don't know whether Gary or Jade wants to introduce our fabulous presenter today. We haven't seen her for so long and we've been trying to get her here. So take it away, Gary or Jade.
Hi, I'm Jade. And it's true, we have been trying to get Karen to come for years, but unfortunately he had way too long a drive to get here. So this is great. She's been growing cactus since she got her first real cactus, the Gymnoclysum fredericii, in the spring of 1979. That same year in the fall, she purchased 6 mammillarias in 2.5-inch pots. And she still has 2 of those, which is really amazing.
They're huge.
I bet they're huge because your stuff really grows. In the year since, she has been involved with both the CSSA and Intercity shows as a general helper, been show chair for the Sunset Succulent Society for at least the last 15 years. And that's where I saw her do a staging workshop. Originally, she was living and growing both cactus and succulents in the San Fernando Valley, but since moving to the high desert, she decided to concentrate on growing cactus only. She's focused on Eriocarpus and related genera, Mammillarias, North and South American Opuntias, and Gymnoclysum. Can hardly wait to hear your presentation. Thank you. Karen, you're
We'll save our questions and Q&A for after her talk, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen now.
And we're gonna mute, everybody else mute, right?
Okay, I'm gonna start. Let me move this. Okay, this beautiful little thing is out in the Death Valley. And when I talk about staging, I want you to think about this particular photo. This tiny little plant, it's not any bigger than a golf ball, but look at how it has a rock behind it and 2 rocks in front of it, so that it's nicely set up to be perfect. This is the mammillaria greenhouse at my house. And you'll notice every plant with few exceptions are in show pots. This is because I like looking at my plants all dressed up and pretty. And if you keep your plants in a show pot and keep them up, when you get ready to show, your plants are already ready. All you have to do is put a little top dressing on them and bring them to the show. This is Rauschia pulvinata. This is a ground cover. Any plant in the whole world looks better when you treat it like it's a prize. This is just a common little plant. Grows all over the hillsides all over Southern California, but dressed up and nicely staged. Look at how it just looks fabulous. Here's the tools of the trade. Clippers, a brush, tweezers, and you'll notice tags. Every time you transplant a plant, you should note on your tag when you transplanted it and how big the pot was that it came out of and went into, so that you know in 3 or 4 years when you're looking at that plant, oh my God, I haven't transplanted this thing. I got to transplant it. You always have a record. How to choose a pot for your plant. Okay, these pots are not really appropriate. This pot, the round blue and white one, has a constriction at the neck, which makes it impossible to move your plant out when it gets big. The orange pot is a little bright. The yellow pot's a little bright. The green pot had that pot for years, went through 10 plants. Nothing looks right in it. The upper pot, the tall pot, I thought nothing would look good in that. I gave it to someone and they put a Senecio Haworthioides in it and it looked fabulous. Nothing I had looked good in it. I prefer the hand-thrown pots. This is a Joe Wojcik. This is Nels Christensen, June, Onkworks, Mark Meridian. They have flow, they have character, they have color. Here's more. Square pots are fun. Square pots are fun. This is Karen Olander, Tom Glavich, an old Erica von Acker, and a couple of Nels pots. If you're going to show in plastic pots, make sure the pots are new and clean. You'll notice the 2 round green pots are crossed out. These are inappropriate for a show. When you're staging your plants, you want to put them in the pots correctly. A perfectly round pot, you have to put the plant dead in the center. The same thing with a square pot. It needs to go dead in the center. When you have odd sized pots, you want to break it into thirds and set your plant off to the side. It provides a more dynamic, more flowing movement for the plant. It's just not static. How not to stage in a clay pot. You got spider webs. The top dressing's too low in the pot. You got salt buildup and the pot's damaged and dirty. All of these things takes away from how beautiful your plant is. You've worked hard to grow this plant. Now you want to really dress it up and make it look good. Same plant in a clay pot. Look at the difference. The pot is narrow at the bottom. It's shiny. Okay, truth be told, it's a little bit of mineral oil on the pot to make the pot look good. All the cobwebs have been cleaned away. The top dressing is up to the edge of the pot. And it's the same plant, but look at the difference. When you're staging in a plastic pot, please, please, please use the same principles. The pot is clean. The top dressing is brought all the way up to the top of the pot, edge of the pot, so that it's filled and you don't see the inside rim of the pot. I love rocks, so I have rules for rocks. Here again, this is Necanoceros out in Death Valley. This plant was growing in between 3 rocks. The big one behind it, the little tiny one down underneath it, and the one off to the right side. Rocks, they always come in odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, you get the picture. I've staged plants and I've had more than 27 rocks in the pot. Your staging rocks and your top dressing should match, and they should have some, I'm losing the word, but they should have some matching to either the plant or the pot that they're in. If the plant is very, very gray, you're going to want to use a red or green to pull out the color of the plant. If it's a brown pot, you want to use brown top dressing and brown rocks, because your whole point of this is framing your plant. This is like taking a painting. Imagine your plant as a painting and you're buying and putting it in a frame. As I said, some characteristic of the pot or the plant. Here is an old Erica von Acker pot. Top dressing and the rocks match the pot. Even the texture of the rocks of the top dressing match the texture of the pot. Here's Thylacactus wacky subspecies matude in a Gerald Rickert pot. You'll see that the rocks and the top dressing make a pleasing whole with the plant and the pot. The ends of the spines on the plant are the same color as the pot and the rocks, which makes the entire plant stand out, which is the whole point. You want those judges walking up to that table, and your plant is the plant that they're going to look at. Here again, always use those odd numbers for rocks, 1, 3, 5. And partially bury the rocks. If you notice in nature, they're never laying on top of the soil. I always try to put at least one rock, usually the one behind the plant, down deep into the soil so I can water onto the rock and the water goes down into the soil where the roots are. Here's some common rock mistakes. Those rocks don't match. You don't find that anywhere in nature. You want your rocks to match. The campfire ring. Unless you're offering this plant up to the gods of the show, please, please, please don't campfire ring it. This Echinopsis, it looks fairly small, but mind you, it's sitting on the floor. Those are 12-inch tiles. This plant was huge, but the reason I'm showing it is because the rock is hanging way far out of the plant, out of the pot, and distracts your eye from the plant. getting it right. Here you see 2 rocks at the back and 1 rock buried in front. Now these rocks at the back are the rocks that one of them goes all the way down to the bottom of the pot, so that when I water, I never water over my plants. I never put water on my plants. It's always into the top dressing or onto the rocks, so that the water goes directly to the roots. And I know that my plant is properly watered that way. The use of negative space. Negative space is where your eye has to go to rest when you're looking at something. You'll notice at the front of this Opercularia decarii, there's a big naked area where there's no rocks, just top dressing, and that leads your eye right up to the bottom of the plant to show off those absolutely beautiful roots and up the plant, so you can see how nicely staged this plant is. Here again, we have negative space. Holy cow, that plant's small. It's my plant. It's now, I have to find a bigger pot. This is a 18 by 12 inch pot. 2 rocks on one side, 1 rock on another. Negative space around, framing the plant so that when you walk up to the table, that framing directs your eye right to the plant. Here's an Alistaria pygmaea, underpotted. The color of the pot is not very good for the plant. It has a lot of issues. Here it is. I took a portion of the plant away. I cut out probably a quarter of the plant. 2 rocks that match the color of the areoles. Nice framing around the plant. Everything makes your eye look at that plant. The pot is not screaming at you. The whole point of this is for the judges to look at your plants. Sizing your plants to pots. Yeah, is there a pot there? Actually, there is, but it's tiny. It needs a bigger pot. And what happens when you do this is that you lose that frame. You lose what you need to call attention to your plant. Same plant in a larger pot. The red spines are matched by the red top dressing and the dark reddish brown of the pot. This Neoporteria occulta, it needs a bigger pot, needs a darker pot, needs something that says, look at me, I'm beautiful. It's a beautiful plant, but it's more beautiful when you bring it alive by contrasting the plant and the pot. Finding a new home for your plants. Now, you know, a lot of people say, well, this is art, making and staging your plants. It's not, it's observation. Look at your plant, decide what part of your plant you want to emphasize and find it. Here is that mammillaria from earlier in the plastic pot. It's been stripped out. The roots, this is your opportunity to make sure you have no root mealies, no rotten roots. You want to separate the roots so that when you put it into fresh soil, it's ready and waiting to grow. Chopsticks, boy, are they handy. If you'll notice, the chopsticks hold the plant at just the right level in the soil so that you can get the new soil into that pot and make it work. Now, I didn't like how it looked in this brown pot. This is a Tom Glavich pot. It made the spines look dirty. Same with this one. Round, it was kind of blah. The gray, well, not so much. But the green, look at how that green makes that entire plant pop. And you'll notice I've been auditioning top dressing every time I audition a pot. New top dressing. I like this one too. Using the rocks in the top dressing. Now, when I put a plant in, you'll notice there's a piece of newspaper underneath. I don't have bugs here. I don't have sow bugs. I don't have slugs. I don't have snails. So I don't have to worry about those kind of creepy crawlers getting into my pots. So I can use newspaper to cover the hole. But you should always use like a screen, or you should use something to keep snails, slugs, earwigs, all of those kinds of things that are going to go up into your plant, into your pot, and eat your roots. So here you see I have the rock going all the way down to the bottom of the pot. That'll be my watering rock. Here, what's the problem? It's a campfire ring. I really can't emphasize this enough. The campfire ring just really distracts from your plant. Here it is. It's in the pot. The rocks are in. I have 3 rocks, 2, a large and a small at the back, and what I call the pavement rock in the front that allows your eye to rest on something that becomes your negative space. And you'll see the pale green of the pot itself pulls out the green of the plant, and the top dressing pulls out the color of the spines. And same plant. If you're a judge, which one are you going to pick? Even though it's the same plant, look at how different they look. So here's some before and afters. This was at the San Gabriel show in 2019, in winter 2019. This beautiful, absolutely fabulous Conophytum cubicum, gorgeous plant. It was entered in the show like this. Broken pot, dirty pot. I loved the plant. I was judging this particular category, and I could not give this plant anything more than a 3rd place because the pot was broken, the pot was dirty, and it just wasn't up to snuff compared to what else was on the table. Had the gentleman that owned the plant done that, I guarantee you that cubicum would have been on the awards table. You'll notice that the color of the pot emphasizes the color of the plant. The little knobs on the bottom of the pot, the texture, emphasize the split in the individual leaves. The whole thing just looks much better. He allowed me to transplant it, and I gave him the plant in that pot. So you can see the difference. Which one would you pick? Now, mind you, you're going to be looking at these all the time. These are your plants. You want them to look great. So you can go out and you can say, oh, look, he looks so good. Let's bring him in and put him on the kitchen table while we eat. This is Tephrocactus bonier. It used to be Puna bonier, and then it was Mywinopsis bonier, and now it's a Tephrocactus. Here it is. It's underpotted. Here it is in a new pot, same plant. Look at how much better it looks. This is, oh, probably 5 years ago. I'm ready to transplant this plant again. And it's going to get a much, much, much bigger pot. This is a funny story. I was doing something for Joe Clemens, and he had this picture, and I was laughing. I said, oh my God, that's my plant. Here it is now. What? Wait a minute. Here it is 10 years ago. Here it is now. Just the difference between the red pot that made the fuzz at the top, the fur, look brown and dirty, and now the dark, dark pot that makes the fur look white. Sansevieria silver blue. A lot of us have this plant. The red on the bottom of the plant, the bottom of the pot here, matches the red along the edge of the leaf. The blue pot and the blue top dressing. Here it is, changed into a brown and red pot. Once again, we have the texture of the pot matching the texture of the leaves, the color of the bottom of the pot and the color of the top dressing matching the edge of the leaves so that your eye is drawn to the plant. What you're trying to do is emphasize certain portions of your plant. Here's some ideas, and here's putting it all to work. Okay, we all have a lot of plants, and we know that we want them to look good. This albuca is just simple, but it shines. Gymnocalycium bruchii in a brown bonsai pot. The brown bonsai pot has been oiled, mineral oil, to make it look clean for the show. You don't, be careful, don't get it on the top dressing, don't get it on your plants. But look at how nice this bruchii looks in this pot. But then again, you know, rules are meant to be broken. That's why they're there. Here's a Hallworthia tessellata. When I put this in the pot, it was just, the rocks were all smashed together at the front. After a year and a half in the pot, it threw out all these babies and split those rocks up. This was just serendipity. Yet it came out so nice. And yet it's underpotted. It should be in a bigger pot, but look at how cool it looks. Again, Turbinicarpus horridipillis. I know it looks like there's cobwebs. It's not. I had to black out the background. Didn't do a very good job, but it's hanging over the pot, but I still have negative space. Eriocarpus retusus. Nothing matches. The red of the pot doesn't match the top dressing. The green of the plant doesn't match the top dressing or the red of the pot, and yet it still works. So I'm not going to tell you that I'm the expert and that I know and that my rules are all the be all and end all of staging. These are your plants. You're going to live with them 365 days a year. Do what you feel is right for your plants. This Obergonia denigrii actually had a third plant in the front where the rock is. The secondary head pulled the third baby away from the mother plant, and I had to take the plant away, and it made it kind of look weird because it was just it's an oblong now, but putting it in this oblong pot really shows off the shape of the plant. Using texture. Texture is really important. Some of our plants are very, very smooth. Some of our plants are highly textured, and some of them look as if they're textured, but they're smooth. They have dots, they have spots, they have spination. This cute little Parodia microsperma is in a Bonnie Ikamura pot. The texture of the plant is emphasized by the texture of the pot, and the color of the pot pulls out the color of the plant. This is small. This is maybe 5 inches across total. Here's texture and color. The color of the pot matches the color of the trunk. And the texture on the trunk matches the texture on the pot. The green line around the top of the pot draws your eye to the tiny little leaves on this Serraria pygmaea. This plant is 3 inches across. If you're not sure when you're doing your plants, if the texture is too much, this is not like the old days when you had to, take a picture and have the film developed and then say, well, I really don't like that. Now you can take a picture with your phone. Take a black and white, look at it. I like how the texture of the pot emphasizes all that's going on with the plant. In color, it's a little difficult to see that, but it works. Here again, that sense of area that I showed earlier, here it is in black and white because I wanted to make sure that the splotching on the leaves was not, there was no detraction between the splotching and texture of the pot and the splotching on the leaves. They go together, they match. So when it has color, it looks right. Here's Aztecium reiteri in a tiny little Rosanna Barella pot. This plant is 3 inches across from end to end. The texture of the pot emphasizes the highly textured plant, and the color, excuse me, the color of the top dressing emphasizes the growth point on the main head. Using color to enhance your selected plant features. This little Dipicati species, I don't know where I got this plant, but it's just an interesting little plant. It's from South Africa. It sends up a flowers. Each individual bulb sends up a flower stalk that has maybe 10 to 12 flowers on it. They're tiny. I mean, tiny. It takes a magnifying glass to see them. But the plant, the pot, the top dressing all go together. The red at the bottom of the pot matches the top dressing. The greenish brown of the main body of the pot draws your eye to the bulbs beneath the bright green. Agave filigree. Here again, top dressing and pot match, and what it draws your eye to is the leaves, the color of the leaves, the red tips. Overall, the entire thing is a beautiful little match. Rhombophytum pilosum. Once again, I like these little tiny plants. This plant is 2.5 inches tall, 2.5 inches wide. The color of the pot and the top dressing emphasize the dark, dark brown of the trunk. Foccaria. This Foccaria is doing mimicry. It's hiding in the rocks so that those goats don't eat it. The little top dressing matches the texture on the leaves. Everything about this says, I'm hiding, you can't see me to eat me. Ostrocephalocera stabowski. You can do contrasting or monochromatic. It all is in what you want to show off when you have your plants staged. Do you want to show off how hairy and furry and beautiful it is in the white pot? Or do you want to emphasize the flowering point on the center by using a darker pot? Using pot shape to call attention, to plant shape. This Mammillaria spinosissima pilcaensis. The pot itself is only 2.5 inches tall. And yes, it looks like it's got a campfire ring, but it needed to be built up so I could get at least 3 inches of soil in that pot. But you'll see the pot is long and narrow. The plant is long and narrow, and that calls attention to the shape of the plant. A crested plant in a wood, Kathy Minnick pot. The curly pot calls attention to the undulations of the plant itself. Once again, an Erica von Acker pot with a crested gymnocalycium that calls, the smile on both of them matches. The smile on the pot, the smile on the plant. Opuntia invicta, a long, narrow pot for a narrowly staged plant. I love this plant. My friend Snake from Central California found this pot at a garage sale, paid 10 cents for the pot, brought it home and staged his plant in this pot. The decoration on the front of the pot emphasizes the shape of the plant. The dots on the pot emphasize the dots on the plant, and everything just goes together in a complete whole. So you don't have to spend a lot of money for your pots. It's a garage sale find. A square plant pot for a round-headed plant. It's just fun. Ariocarpus retusus, a round pot for a round plant, but it's spiky, and the little round dots on the pot emphasize the spikiness of the plant. And about all those tall pots, I like tall pots. They don't necessarily mean that there's a graft in there. Astrophytum caput medusae has a carrot-like root and needs a deep pot. Here, this pot, which I asked a young potter, a local potter, to make for me, the curl of the pot matches the curl of the leaves. So it's not a grafted plant. Don't always imagine when you look at these that what you're looking at is a grafted plant and you're hiding the scion. Here again, Ariocarpus retusus frequently has a massive carrot-like root below ground. And the longer pot, the taller pot, allows that root to shape and go down into a deeper pot. So here's the complete package. This is Cryptanthus elaine. When I bought this pot, people said, there's not a pot plant in the world you can get into that pot. Nothing's going to go with that. Well, I put several different plants in this pot. One of them was an aloe that looked great, but this Cryptanthus elaine is just spectacular. The texture on the bottom of the pot makes your eyes go to the stripe, the zebra striping on the leaves, and the color of the pot matches perfectly the color of the plant edges. I wish I still had this plant. Right after this photo was taken, it flowered. Sometimes they'll offset. A lot of times they don't, and they die. And now it's in the great greenhouse in the sky, and it's not mine. And I have no other plant to go in this pot. Mammillaria albiflora. The glazing, the cracked glazing on this pot brings your eye immediately to the spination on this plant. This plant is 5 inches tall, the overall, and 2.5 inches square. So it's tiny, but look at how it just, the color of the pot, the color of the plant, the texture of the pot, the texture of the plant, all go together. And Canthocalicium glaucum, the gray plant and this gorgeous, screaming, yellow, satiny flower. Look at how good that looks in a gray pot, a Bonnia Kimura pot with the cuts on the pot mimic the cuts, the shape of the spine, the color mimics the plant. The whole thing is just pleasing. Leuchtenbergia principus. It's a big plant. Probably weighs 40 pounds. Got a lot of rocks in it too. But the blue of the pot really, really, really emphasizes the blue coloration, the blue bloom on each individual aphasia. God, I hate it. On each individual tubercle is a bluish bloom color. And that blue of the pot brings it out. The curl mimics the curling spines on the pot, making this a very pleasing whole. If I could have this in my yard, I would be so happy. This is the most ultimate of all staging. I want to thank all of you for listening to me and watching. And do you have any questions?
Boy, thank you. That was great. That was really great. Did a good job.
Thank you.
Really nice
Thank
job.
you, Gary. Kika,
Yeah.
you have a question?
No, I just like it's a really nice presentation. I liked it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a
Any
comment. It's real. I learned so much from this. So thank you. But one of the things that you got me thinking about is your comment that, hey, this isn't art, it's thinking about different elements. And I guess I felt for myself that what I was going to take away is that there are these different things and you need to pay attention to them all. And you can break rules with them. And just it is okay to let it be art, but artists have tools. They have techniques and brushes and space and so forth. So now you have a bunch of tools, and all of us might take the same plant in the same pot and do something different, but having those principles just gives me a lot of flexibility. I can see things I never saw before.
Thank you. That's the whole point. It's just a series of guidelines. If you do go A and B and C and D, and it's really actually pretty simple. If you look at your plant, at what you want to emphasize on your plant, then there's no art to it. It's just observation and doing what pleases you. Anybody else?
Remind
MA?
me how much space between the plant and the side of the pot? Like you were telling
Okay.
me, needed to repot, this needed to be repotted. How much?
Yes, okay. That's the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb. I like to see at least a thumb's width of soil, of top dressing around the edge of the pot and the plant. Minimum. Now on your plant, on that pot, MA, one of the problems with that pot is that it has a constriction up at the neck. See the constriction at the top?
Mhm.
And as that plant gets bigger, you're not going to be able to get it out of that pot without damaging the roots or breaking the pot.
It took me quite a while on Friday afternoon to get it out of here. And I got it thoroughly soaked the day before so that the soil would be soft and I could work with it.
Yeah, but I would put that in a larger pot.
I will.
Larger as in around, but maybe shallower, a more shallow pot, so that you're showing off, because right now the pot and the plant are exactly the same ratio.
Mhm.
And what you need is you need to change the ratio. See how the pot and the plant are like the same size? You want something that more emphasizes the plant and not calls attention to the pot.
Yeah, the pot's way bigger.
Yeah, the pot's kind of shiny too.
Yeah, it's kind of shiny.
It attracts your eye.
Thank you.
Before you see the pot before you see the plant.
Karen, you
Yes?
talked about, and everybody in the society is a plant collector, but there's a few pot throwers or makers. Any suggestions for the pottery guys of what to do or how to make things anything you'd like to see done in pots?
I like long, oblong, and shallow. Not so shallow you have trouble planting your plants, but say like 3 inches and 8 inches long and maybe 5 inches wide. The shallower, more shallow. I like odd shaped pots. I like the fact that a lot of us have taken such, originally the people that did this, started the staging for cactus was Rudy Lime, San Diego, Mike Buckner, Larry
Grammar.
Grammer, Artie Chavez, all of these people. I mean, they're the true masters. I mean, I once watched Larry Grammer take a plant that I thought looked horrible, stage it up, and it was gorgeous. And they were using at that time bonsai pots, because that's what we could get. We could get round pots because all the potters were using a wheel and they were throwing them around. and you could get bonsai pots that were fabulous. The bonsai pot that my Opuntia Victa is in is actually an antique. And I was lucky to get it. I just happened to find it. Garage sales, they're wonderful. But oblong pots and rectangular pots, or pots that are oddly shaped with texture and not shiny. Shiny detract, hold up your plant again, MA. The shiny pot draws your eye immediately to the pot, and you don't, the secondary is you see the plant. And what you want is you want that to be the opposite. You want to be able to walk up to that table, and the first thing you see is a beautiful frame around your plant. You don't see the pot so much. You just see the frame. And the shiny shiny glaze draws your eye away from the plant. So
I want to pick on MA's pot again a little bit more, Karen, because I think what you said, one of the things that I see also in there that is a big warning sign for me is that taper, like you said, but there's also another huge warning sign for me that concerns me about pots like that is the built-in tray below. It holds the moisture too much. It makes the chances of overwatering that plant increase significantly with that built-in tray on the bottom.
Oh, it does. It does. Now, I'll be honest. I live where 4% humidity is pretty normal, and a pot like that, I would overwater and kill the plant immediately. So I don't use those. I mean, I have a few for like ferns and things that need that type of pot that holds the moisture. Another problem with that type of pot, MA, is that it's glazed on the inside as well. And so you don't get the plant can't breathe because the pot has all this glazing on it, inside and out. So the pots, I prefer the pots that aren't too highly glazed, aren't too highly, aren't too highly colored, but I have some that are just outrageously bright and outrageously shaped, and I love them because there are rules you can break, and breaking the rules works. And don't be afraid to break the rules because they're meant to be broken. Anybody else?
Hey, Karen.
Yeah,
I have a question on top dressing. Do you feel that a finer top dressing or a coarser top dressing works better?
It depends on the size of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some plants, as you saw in those, where the top dressing is very, very fine because the plant has, the texture of the plant calls for a small, tiny textured top dressing. Other top dressings can be a little larger, bigger plants, bigger top dressing.
Mm-hmm.
I have some plants that I've got rocks that are the size of marbles, but they're big plants. I mean, they're big plants. And a tiny, tiny, fine top dressing would not look right. And you've got to look at what you're planting and the texture of your plant.
Cool. Thank you.
What are the rules on staying with top dressing? What are the rules like on, say, like polished pebbles from river rocks, or say some kind of colorized gemstone? I've seen all kinds of weird things as top dressing in different pots.
Okay. Here's my thought on that. I've never seen a cactus growing in a river.
Exactly.
So a polished rock, although I got to amend that. I have to amend that. We went to Darwin Falls one time out in Panamint Valley, and I saw an Andiantum, a fern, and a Mammillaria tetraancestra growing side by side in the waterfall.
Wow.
But there were no polished rocks. So gemstones and anything that's going to draw your eye away from the plant, I can't. I just can't. I know years and years and years ago, people used to use aquarium gravel,
Mhm.
purple and green and, you know, orange, and we've gone beyond that. We're grown-ups now. The hobby has advanced, and it's like another thing I want to talk about is those cutesy little pots. Y'all know the one, the clown. I don't ever want to see that in a show. The clown, you know, no. Unless there's a particular class in a category in the show for whimsy. Now, Sunset has that. Sunset has a class, so you can bring in your your snake pot with, you know, half a dozen cactus in the individual holes of the snake pot. I don't want to see it. Let me show you a pot. Let me show you a pot.
Called the chuckle category. Everybody chuckles. We have several exhibitors at Sunset that regularly try to find things for that category.
Disguised thing.
Here's a pot. It's a snake. It's a snake climbing up to a nest.
Oh.
There is not a plant in the world that looks good in this pot. I have tried. I have a fake egg in the nest.
Raise it up so we can see the bottom.
Yeah, we cannot see it.
It's just kind of dark.
Ah.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh yeah, now I see it.
I think it looks good with a fake egg.
Yeah. And that's all that ever gets put in it is the fake egg, because bringing it to a show would be wrong.
It's a good book to sit on your bookshelf.
Oh, it's perfect on the bookshelf. It's perfect on the bookshelf. But, you know, so think about it, you know, think about, I mean, I have a cute little pink pot with a bunny. There's not a show I would put. I have a sedum in it. It's cute. It's pink. And the sedum's pink. It belongs on my, you know, picnic table.
Can you see
So,
it? Can you see it?
yeah, it belongs on a picnic table. It doesn't belong in a show. So think about it, because we want when the public comes in to look at our plants, you know, so many of them think that the clown with the slouchy pants and the chamaceris in it is right. No. Show them that our plants are gorgeous. They're not. We want everyone just to be happy and see our plants and be impressed by how beautiful our plants are. You know, it's gotten better over the years. I mean, I originally, when I first started showing, way back, we won't talk about that, but people would bring plants in coffee cups and teacups and silver spoons, and unless there is a class for it, please leave it on the picnic table on your patio. Anybody else?
You know, we actually have someone at our club that goes to you know, swap meets and stuff a lot. And she does a great job with whimsical planning. Phyllis, she does, I mean, she does an amazing job with putting
Yeah.
stuff
I
together.
have
And
one
she
of
also
her.
does succulent cups for everyone for
Yeah.
Christmas. Amazing.
I have a friend that lives in Indiana, and he's part of the CSSA, and their show actually has kitchen utensils, kitchen, you know, different categories so that you can do things like that. Most of our shows out here just have, oh, the whimsy class, or the year that Inner City had, the theme of the show was Walk on the Wild Side. And one of our classes was animal pots with plants.
Well,
And
also,
that,
oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
On Instagram, there's a lot of young kids that are getting into succulents and cactus, and they do way more whimsical and, you know, out there, and it looks good. And we want
Oh yeah,
young people to be interested.
yeah. But they're young and they can learn new things.
Yeah, but maybe we're old and we can learn new things too.
Yeah, yeah.
Both ways.
But when you're judging a show, okay, I'm looking at it from the perspective of a judge. I want to walk up to that table and see that the plants on that table are respected. I mean, that sounds kind of weird, but I don't want to see a teapot. You know, I don't mind. Okay, Tony Marino, in the Gate Society, San Bernardino, builds pots out of rocks, glues these rocks together to build pots. They are fabulous, but they look natural.
Mhm.
The frame again, the framework around your plant is going to either detract or attract a judge. And if you're going for whimsy, okay. But you know, I'm going for those trophies and those ribbons and those rosettes. You know, these guys, and sort of my way of thinking, if you want your plant to be looked at in the way to show off how well you've grown your plant, you'll respect it. I used to say, you know, you've got this beautiful plant and it's like a beautiful girl. She's still beautiful in cutoffs and a dirty t-shirt. Put her in a beautiful dress and she's even more beautiful. So this is, you know, a guy in a pair of jeans looks great. In a tux, a good looking guy is a great looking guy. Okay, so it's the same thing. The show is a party, and you're not going to go to a party wearing your oily jeans from working on your car. You're going to dress up. So that's the whole point of staging, is you're dressing up to go to a party. So does that make sense?
Good analogy.
Karen, this is marvelous. I've learned so much. Some major shifts and things I didn't understand before. The number of my pots you will never see again.
Oh, no, you have to see it, but here's the whole point.
Unless you
Here's
come to my picnic table, then you might see them.
Okay, but here's the whole point. You're looking at them 365 days a year. The judges are looking at them 3 hours. The public's looking at them for 3 days. So you really have to do it so that you're pleased. If you're happy putting it in a teapot, just know that the judges are going to go, no, I can't really put that on the trophy table. But be happy with it. You know, you might get an honorable mention because the plant looks so good that they could overlook that teapot. But that's the whole thing. It's what you're doing is the entire presentation. It's, you know, it's the presentation. It's putting it out there for people to look at. And what do you want them to see? Do you want them to see the teapot or you want them to see the plant?
I have a question, Karen.
Okay.
Your top dressing, do you buy all your top dressing or do you go find it somewhere?
Oh, well, okay. All the DG, the decomposed granite, I pick up off our property because I live in the desert.
Yeah.
I got a lot of it. But most of it I buy from John Matthews because he's got an outstanding collection of top dressing. And I don't buy it in the little 1 pound bags. I buy it 20 pounds at a time because I got a lot of plants. And I probably have 30 different kinds of top dressing. 30 different colors, textures. And most places you can't pick it up. It's not legal. You can pick it up within 6 feet of a road, according to the California DOT. But anything you're picking up 6 feet from a road has oil, gas, rubber, all sorts of things you really don't want to put next to your plants. You don't want to grow your plants in that. So, like I said, I buy it from John Matthews.
So when I repot, the top dressing that was in that pot goes in with the dirt that came out of it. When I eventually recycle it, is there any problem with just putting the DG in with the dirt that I repot with in the future?
Okay, when I repot my plants, I dump them out on my potting bench. Top dressing, rocks, everything. Pick out the staging rocks, pull the staging rocks out. DG, Larry's favorite, whatever top dressing that was on the pot, in the pot, goes into the soil. That soil gets put into a kitty litter bucket, waits a year, and then gets recycled and is used again. I put a little bit of water in the kitty litter bucket, put the lid on it, set it out in the sun, and after a year of being sterilized by the sunlight, I reuse the soil. I got too many plants not to reuse it. And it becomes incredibly porous because of all the rocks. I mean, some of my plants go into rock and pumice, top dressing and pumice. My Astrophytum caput medusae, it does not get any soil at all. It gets pumice and really, really coarse DG because I'm afraid of rotting it. It's probably one of the hardest plants that I have to grow. So and when I water it, I water it and the water goes whoosh, and that's great. So it really, it improves your soil permeability to put the top dressing in. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to know.
Yeah, it's just,
Maybe when everything is going to be normal, when we are going to open up, maybe we should have like a fun project or like a workshop that we are going to have the same plant and we are going to have different pots and see who comes with the creative ideas and we can judge on that.
that'd be a good idea.
So just
That would be a
have
good idea. I'm sorry, what? Okay,
Oh, wait,
any,
I didn't understand what she said. What did Kika say?
I think she's talking about
before and after.
potting.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, our club really has never had a judged show. It's judged by the public walking in and voting for their favorite table. So this is kind of a different strategy for doing our plants and presenting them to the public. And you know, a judge show, you actually bring in typically 3 judges to go around and judge each category, but we never have done that. So it's something, you know, it's been discussed off and on, but we always go back to the public judging.
Wow, really? South Coast has never had a judge show?
No.
No, but I thought what Kika said was perhaps maybe, and this is something I guess Jade and I can, and Maria and maybe Laurel can talk about, is we could have a workshop sometime and everybody brings it in as kind of a before and after, and everybody repots their plant, and then everybody judges everybody else's plant as to who did the best job of
that'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
We could also do it with our annual plant. Everybody can take it home, get their pots and their top dressing and everything that they have at home, and then bring it in for
fun.
judging too.
Yeah.
That makes it easier because then you don't have to lug everything there to the workshop. But I think either way, it's a great idea. I like it.
Yep.
But
Now,
Alon-
There's no more questions.
I have a question. At South Coast, do you have the monthly mini show? When you have a meeting, when you have the meetings?
Yes.
Yes.
Like we do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then the speaker typically does the judging.
Yeah, similar to Sunset and all the other
Right.
all the other societies.
That's the
Yeah.
same. Yep.
Yeah.
You
So
should-
Karen, if you look on our website, we've saved all the photos of all the winning plants through the years. They're in there somewhere on our website.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Mike takes the photos and he films them exquisitely. They look
Yeah,
beautiful.
Mike is a really good photographer. In fact, I think the South Coast website is one of the best websites of any of the clubs, hands down.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm not much for websites.
Well, you'll like this one.
I'll go and look. I'll go and look. I'm not, like I said, I'm not much for the websites. I don't know why, you know, I spend hours on the computer. Maybe, and you know, by the time I'm done, it's like, okay, I'm done. Turn off. I don't want to.
Yep.
So, well, thank you all for having me.
Thank you,
And,
Karen.
Thank you. Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well,
very
thank
much
you for
your
having
share.
me.
That was-
And I'm sorry that it took a pandemic before
But
I
we're
was
not
finally
sorry. We're not sorry.
finally
It was wonderful to
did
have
it.
you here. If you want to stick around, Laurel's going to show photos of the plants of the month that people sent in to Maria. So if you want to watch the PowerPoint presentation, you can see some of our
Okay.
favorites.
Okay,
Take it away,
I can
Laurel.
do that.
Okay, I need to have somebody help me share screen. Is Do we have Scott?
It's in the middle. With mine, it's at the
Well,
middle.
I know where it is. I just need to make sure I can do a share. That's all.
That's why it's wide open. Anybody can do it. I'm not-
Okay, great. Thank you, Scott. Everybody see this?
It's coming.
It's coming, yeah.
Your blank screen.
It says you started. We just don't see anything.
Getting it.
There we go.
Here.
Here we go.
Okay. All right. So this is using Google Drive, so it's a little different than a typical PowerPoint. So we always start out with garden plants and what's growing in the garden, how they look right now, and some of our brag plants show up here too. So here's a submittal by Joe Tillison, showing a kind of a collection of different things, mammillarias and sedums, Afrocactus. And I think that looks like an aeonium there. I'll add one more. And here's another one from Joe. This is called Aloe Princess Jack. So it's a known hybrid of Divericata and Parvula. It's an F2. And this is Joe also. It's a Sirius Forbesii Monstros. And here's Anita's display.
Oh.
I'd had this packed. There would be no space between those plants. It's wonderful to see all this nice space. I really like that, Anita. So all this space for me would be just packed. But nice way of displaying the collection. And I like the old red color. Really helps to make the things pop. This is Sanita Brant's or Branted's garden.
Wow.
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 There's somebody has a lot of things to take care of. I thought I had a lot.
So neat.
Yeah,
So neat.
That's really
Wow.
neat.
that looks like a field trip to me. Look how tidy everything is.
Wow. Looks like a nursery.
It
Yes.
does.
A good nursery.
Anyway,
Wow.
it's Anita. So then we will take a look at the novice succulents and see what everybody's favorite is. There's Addermiscus cooperi. This is Anita's submittal. Full flower. There's a euphorbia. I'm not sure which one this is.
Again.
It's got these dark spine tips. Sansevieria.
One cell.
And this is Aeonium kiwi. And one is in a container, and the other
After kiwi.
is looks like it's in a container, but you really can't see the container itself. I'm not sure. I think it's coming from here. And this, of course, is Starburst, which is absolutely a wonderful thing to put in the landscape.
Mm.
Ingraptopedilum paraguayense. And here's a really nice plant from Jim Tanner. This is Agave albopilosa. And Falcaria tuberosa from Sue Wong.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Old plant.
nice.
Yeah, it's an old plant. Aloeferox, Terry Straub. A Hectia, I'm not sure which one this is. Deuterconia brevifolia from John Niswander. Monanthes polyphylla, you don't see this around too much, and
Pretty.
this is a
Wow.
cool little plant.
Neat little flowers.
Yeah, I think you can specialize in Monanthes, and I think there are only 6 species. You get all 6 of them, you're done.
it's very cool.
This is, to me, is one of my all-time favorites. I'm so happy to see this, that somebody actually has this species.
Yeah, that's hard. They're actually pretty hard to grow.
Yeah, I've had it, but you know, right now I only have one species.
The flowers were really interesting.
Here's a variegated Plectranthus. Pedalanthus macrocarpus. This is the crested form, and this is the MAs. I think she's had this in shows.
MA, this needs a tall, narrow pot.
Could that go in the snake pot? Would that fit in the snake pot?
Oh,
Looks
no,
like
but
snake.
a tall, like a tall square pot like Tom Glavich makes. So
Yeah,
that
Seems to
You
be
try to get the
going
greens
down.
in
I
there.
don't know where it's going.
yeah, I think it's a cool plant.
It is.
I'll look for a tall pot.
It would do really well. The square would show off the plant really well, and the tall would emphasize the fact that it's hanging over the edge of the pot.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And this is Dermiscus maculata, MAs.
I like that.
Yeah.
Phocia edulis from MA.
That's about 30 years old. Judy Campbell gave it to me about 10 years ago.
Wow.
I think she and Rosalie bought that at some cactus convention in San Francisco, she said.
Yeah, there was one, and I actually went to that convention.
I swear the above part, the trunk seems to be growing. It looks fatter
This
than
is
when
the
I planted it, but I was told
caudex here.
that the caudex doesn't grow. Does it?
Well, it's probably growing down below, though you can't tell because it's in the pot. But they don't do too much growing above. No.
Just looks.
They will thicken slightly, but they'll get a bark. They'll grow a really thick bark.
Yeah. Here's a dish garden with lithops, which is here. There's also Plesiospilus, more lithops, and there's another lithops there and here, and then this is Valkyria tigrina, lithops over here.
Would you say the name of the plant in the middle one more time?
Oops, I guess I can't go backwards. I'm sorry. I don't see any way.
Pliospilus.
Wait.
Yeah, Pliospilus.
Plesiospilus.
Plesiospilus.
Yeah. This is probably Nelii. Has typically a orange colored flower.
Thank you.
Split rock.
Sure, this looks like a cowrie shell that's been carved. And this is MA, Pelargonium carnosum. This is probably the most common of the bonsai type pelargoniums. They're winter growers and they flower this time of year. Mine are all flowering now. And they will reseed. You'll have them come up in the garden.
Do you water in the summer?
Yeah, they get light watering. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're moving now to the cactus category in novice. And so here's a crested plant from Sunita. This looks like Winteria. It's now in Cleistocactus.
Yeah.
Hey, stop doing
A
that.
shallow pot, boy. Ferocactus cylindraceus. What do you think, Karen? Mammillaria?
Yeah. No, actually, I know what that is. That's Echinocactus grusoni. That's the monstrous form.
Wow. Okay.
I actually have one of those, and it doesn't look anything like Echinocactus grusoni,
Sure
But-
does.
Taking on cactus goose salad?
Yeah.
Golden
and
barrel.
it's the monstrose form, and it's these tiny little heads.
Huh.
It's a really cool plant.
Yeah. Is it Gymnoclisium? Probably Frederici. Another Gymno. This is probably
Rotundum.
Fragilis. You think?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Gracilis?
got several different names.
True. Melanocentra by Terry. These are kind of pixelated because she sends her files are too small. Spinosissima, Jim Tanner's plant. That would look good in a red pot.
It would look really good in a red pot, in a oblong red pot with
Yeah.
red top dressings.
Are you listening, Jim? Pachycereus shadii, this is the monstrose form called totem pole sometimes. Oreosirius trollii, and also behind it, Astros lindopuntia vestita.
Now, Sue, you should take out those river rocks.
One,
I'm to blame for that.
I only see two. Is there a third one in there? I don't see it.
I only see two. Cliff, really?
My fault.
and raise the plant up and bring the top, raise it up so that you can bring the top dressing up to the top of the pot,
To the edge. Yep.
to the
yep.
edge. You don't want to see this, you don't want to see this unknown darkness in here, whatever's going on. And you know, you're going to have to break that pot eventually to get that plant out of there
Yeah.
because it's constricted at the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are
Great edge
both
pot.
from Gary Duke originally.
Wow.
They were babies then.
Yeah, the Oreoscereus is just about the only plant that I can grow outside here that's not an Opuntia.
There's a nice presentation of Labivia pentlandii.
Beautiful.
Yes.
In Mammillary elongata, this is the cristata form.
Ooh.
That's very nice, but you could raise it up so that you don't see the inside. Well, part of that is because that way your plant is got more root room because you've raised it up to right. That's why I use the chopsticks so that the neck of the plant is like right at the top of the pot.
Right.
And they're using
And
it.
that's great, but that's great.
But it also probably helps with not watering too much.
Thank you.
Yeah, is this aquarium gravel?
No, it's not. It's actually top dressing that comes from I forget the company, but I mail ordered it.
Yeah, well, it's nice because it's not shiny.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
I use the same top dressing, that same top dressing on my sale when I sell plants because it's a good all around top dressing.
so that's okay, even though it's kind of rounded like river rock, but
Yeah, because it's not shiny and it has texture. It's not just the round, shiny aquarium gravel.
there is some that they actually polish, and it does look a lot shinier than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some that is more polished.
Yeah, there's a more example of it, only this has a little more variety in color. I think this is probably a little bit of pumice that got away. But anyway, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful plant.
Yeah, it's a beautiful plant.
Tephro. Nicely grown.
Yes. Geometricans.
Yeah, we're moving to intermediate now for the succulents. And so this is Gabi Tara's stripe. This is from
Actually,
short.
I made a typo. It's Kara's stripe with a K.
Oh, that's a K there. Ah,
Oh, yeah, it should be. No, my mistake. I put a typo.
okay.
That's a great looking plant. How big is that, Mike?
It's got to be 3 feet across. At least 3,
That's
yeah, maybe 4.
It's a nice looking plant.
I was up in
Yeah.
a medical building at UCLA, and they had planted hundreds of those around in a field around the front of the building. Literally
Wow.
300 of those.
And it pops out very frequently. I got loads of offsets from it.
Wow, that's great. Here's Desmentiana. It's like a Kalanchoe over here.
Looks like a full yard.
Yeah.
How do you water it, Mike?
Dudleya farinosa from Anita.
Beautiful.
Looking plant.
Oh, that's gorgeous. But this is coastal.
Yep.
So they grow really well coastal.
Look at this Flanagan eye that's hanging off the pot.
Oh, I
thought it
like
would get
that.
a laugh.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Oh, I like
It
that.
was a real. It was a real challenge to be able to put it in any kind of pot and without breaking it. So it's, I mean, the plastic pot's inside the
Yeah, there's the
terracotta. It's kind of
plastic pot, the
cheating,
rim
but
of it, you know.
it kept it alive though.
But I've never seen it grow that way. I thought that's amazing.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
I'd love to stage that.
No,
Actually, yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, I've seen photos of them in the wild in habitat hanging off of cliffs like that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Can
that
happen
would.
naturally.
That's really pretty cool.
Here's Euphorbia mammillaris from Anita.
Nice shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
this looks like Dudleya brittani, but he says it's a hybrid from Bernard Johnson.
wow.
Good looking plant.
Oh, white.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Very little
Good photo.
rub. Yeah, it's a great photo. Okay, now we're going to intermediate cacti. In Alistera fulviceta from Bernard Johnson.
That's a very nice looking plant.
Yeah.
I like the staging.
Yep.
Everything about it is just
Yeah, very appropriate gravel.
yeah.
Wait, would you want to move that one up too?
Yeah, I would move that. I'd put that in a bigger pot, mainly because you can see on the sides it's starting to and the thing about moving them into bigger pots, they grow.
Yep.
They get to a certain point where they're like, oh, I'm pretty bored in this pot. I'm gonna slow down and not do anything. And then you put them in a bigger pot and they go poof.
The Mammillaria pluma.
Wow.
That's a lovely photograph and a beautiful plant.
Oh, that's very nice.
Look how sharp this is. It's very, very good shot. Lichtenbergia principis, again Bernard's. Got it in flower. Okay, now we're going to open succulents and favorites. This is the open category, and this is submitted by Jim Gardner. This is his Aeonium Jack Catlin.
Oh, that's a nice photo.
Isn't that gorgeous? His Aeonium Sun Cup. This is also his pot. He makes these pots.
Okay, it breaks all the rules and it's perfect.
Gorgeous.
It's perfect because the white on the pot draws your eye right up to the plant.
Well, it goes zip. Your eye just goes
Yep.
up these lines to the plant. And this is
That's gorgeous, Jim.
Nichols eye from Jim. This is in his backyard. This is his brevifolia flower.
Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah.
His
Beautiful
backyard.
backyard.
It's like amazing.
Oh my God.
Echeveria Darrenbergi. This is Phyllis. And Euphorbia canariensis. This is Jim Gardner's plant. Very clean.
Oh, come on. Oh, really? Look at that yard. It's so neat. There are no weeds.
There are. I've been there, but
There's two of them to keep the weeds down, but they're really, both Jim and Jan are out there weeding a lot.
I got nothing but weeds.
This is my Ficus pomeroy. Needs dressing. I'm sorry, Karen.
You could do so much with that plant.
I know I could.
We've talked about that before.
I know better. My Oxalis gigantea. It's not flowering yet, but boy, it's sure leafed out.
Yeah.
Is that a caudex or a rock down there?
It's a caudex. This is an old plant. This is
Oh, that's a
very thick base. This is one of those bonsai.
You've had that plant like what, 30 years or more?
I've had a long, long time, yeah. And this is the bonsai style pot that we were able to buy in the early years when the transition between red clay to bonsai was happening. And I happen to have a collection of these from my folks.
Huh.
And, so anyway, I still use them. I really do love these old bonsai pots.
Oh, they're just great. They're great.
This is the largest of the Oxalis species, gigantea, comes from Chile, and it's a Mediterranean climate that they grow in. So they do quite well here in Los Angeles. And they can, in habitat, get up to 6 to 8 feet tall. So they're big shrubs.
Wow. Do you have to raise it every year or every time you replant?
No, I hardly raise it at all.
Hmm.
When was the last time you transplanted that?
God only knows. I grow my plants very hard. If they survive me, they can survive anything.
Yeah, but you're really specific about the location you put them in, because
I do work at that, yes. Anyway, Sansevieria, this is trifasciata, which is typically sold as a house plant, but technically it's a succulent. These are really good because they tolerate low light, and so that's why they're used as house plants.
That was one of the first, trifasciata was one of the first plants I ever had when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, this is the Agavoides ebony, which has tips that are kind of a maroon rather than a red, as the old form we used to have. This is Maria's plant. It's obviously in flower, but she's not showing the flowers.
Very clean plant.
Aquanum in full.
Yeah.
This is Maria's plant. And Agave Victoria Regini. This is the compactiform. Again, Maria. Beautiful markings on it.
Yeah, and that's a nice photo. Really
Yep.
shows off the plant.
Yep.
It
Clean
looks so much like one of the, was it Jim Tanner that had one with the leaves looked so much like this? Just a few pictures back, but had a whole different name.
Nickelsi.
Yeah,
It's a Nickelsi.
Nichols eye.
eye,
Yeah. Jim Gardner, yeah.
Hmm.
Tomentosa from Maria. This looks like at one of our old shows. There's the classic
Tablecloth.
tablecloth.
Okay, busted.
Look at the dark brown, how the dark brown pot brings out the markings on each
Markings
individual.
here. You can see my cursor, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to open cactus. And Labivia longispina, this is Maria's. Gorgeous photograph.
Yeah.
Echinopsis scopolicola. This is from Phyllis.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Labivia drexleriana, a hybrid of it anyway, from Maria.
Look at how the petals, the
was-
orange petals have purple in the middle of them.
Yeah, the other thing you didn't mention, Karen, in your presentation was don't put labels in your pots in the show.
Yes, that I always forget things when I give that talk there, because the talk's always different every time. So
Right. But this just reminded me because, you know, I just do it automatically. But when we do shows at the like national show or anything, we don't put labels. That we pull them out because the label is
or push them down below the top dressing.
Yeah.
I love the flower color.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is my
that's
Mammalia magnifica. And this is in a Jim Gardner pot.
It's a beautiful pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I hate that plant. I hate that plant.
Why?
It's got hook.
It is the, oh, I hate that plant. I got caught on it yesterday in the greenhouse. I walked by it and it caught my my sleeve and I almost pulled it off the bench.
Yeah. Took me a long
That's
time
a great,
to figure out what to put in this pot, but I thought this one really worked.
that's gorgeous. I like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that in the show
I would
one
too.
year.
Yeah, one of these days it'll get into a show.
You're very brave potting that up.
I was very careful, I tell you. Mammillaria mystax. This is from Phyllis.
Oh,
And this is the Mammillaria spinosissima, again by Phyllis.
is that gravel size a little large for that, or is it okay?
I would prefer something a little smaller, like half
Yeah.
that size,
Yeah.
because it's distracting.
Well, the shot is cropped in such a way you don't notice it right away. So
Right, right. That's a spinosissima. That's such a great plant.
and here's Notocactus werneri by Phyllis. How do you feel about oddball sizes in your top dressing?
Well, oddball sizes come in nature, but I think this is a little large for the plant. A smaller size, and still the mix with the oddball sizes is all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like just a little smaller.
Yeah. So it's more in proportion to the plant.
Right.
Is Rebutia pastel pink by Phyllis.
Oh.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Very
Now
nice.
there's a pink pot, and the only time of the year that it's right is when it flowers, but then it's perfect.
Yep.
Right.
Here's Maria's Copiapoa. It looks like tenuissima.
Yeah. Now when I show a plant in a show, I would take, you see all these little dark spots in the center of the areoles? Can you point those out, Laurel? The old flowers? Yeah, I would take those out because they're distracting, and it would make the plant look much cleaner.
Yeah. Just get some tweezers and pluck them out.
Yeah, twist them a little bit so you don't pull the fur with them, and just pluck them out.
Right, they're all over here.
You can
Yeah.
take a toothbrush and fluff up the wool just a tad too.
Oh, Gary, no. Oh,
No?
don't water from overhead and then you don't have to.
Yeah. But I mean, that one looked a bit matted down.
Yeah. It's from being watered overhead.
Yeah.
When you water overhead, it makes the fur all tighten up.
On the other hand, that's the way they look in nature.
Yeah, but we're going for the full potential.
I
We're going
understand.
for full potential.
Well, this is the last photo in the presentation. It's photo number 79. So thank you all for your patience. And I thought this was really a great opportunity to kind of put to use what we just learned from Karen. I'm glad you stuck with us, Karen, to see the presentation.
Oh, it was very nice. It's very nice. It's wonderful to look at somebody else's plants. You know,
Right.
I go out and I look at mine and I go, oh, really? Oh.
Okay, let's see if I can get out of here.
Did you use Google Documents for that? What did you use?
Just a minute. I got to get back in here.
Google.
Return to meeting. Okay. Return. Come on. Not letting me back in.
Okay, you have to close. You have to close up at the top.
There you go.
Thank you.
I think I turned you off.
Thank you, Laurel. That was wonderful. And again, Karen, that was great additional info you gave to us. Okay, next month, our meeting is
I
on
have a quick
Mother's
question,
Day.
Emma, before you move on. Emma, for
Sure.
Karen. You know, a couple times you mentioned about breaking the pots, and that last one you showed, there was a lot of space there between the plant and the pot. You could dig in there with a knife and kind of free the roots up. You never did mention about trimming roots when you're repotting at all.
I occasionally will do that. And a lot of times I don't even bother. I just like pull the roots off. Because I want to break the pot. I want to break the soil up when I'm repotting. I break the soil up, and a lot of times when you break the soil up, you know, you're in there with your fingers breaking it up. The roots come off, and most cactus have such small roots that, you know, you break them off, and then I don't. Once I repot, I don't water for like a week or two. I use dry soil. I don't repot. I don't water for like a week or two after I repot, so that any broken roots have a chance to callus over. With succulents, I usually water before I transplant on a succulent, and then wait a week to water. And with a succulent, I'll just cut the roots off. Yeah. If I want to put it in a pot that's only like 2 inches deep, with most succulents, you can just go in there and just whack them off. And they don't really have a problem. You take them out of a 6-inch pot and you put them into a 2-inch deep pot, just whack the roots off, wait a couple of weeks and then water. This society's never heard me talk about whacking your plants, where MA's heard it and Laurel's heard it, where you just go in, and if you don't like the way your plant looks, even a cactus, like when I showed that one Rebutia pygmaea, where I had taken a whole section out of the plant because the plant was just boring. Taking a section, I just whacked it out, just cut it out. It's no big deal. And as long as you allow the roots to callus over, the plants don't suffer. Did that answer it?
That brought up another one. all those little hair roots that we leave in the soil, do they provide organic matter for plants when we're for future repotting?
They just dry up and become nothing.
Okay.
You know, that it's really not, you know, in nature, plants have, most of them will die back to the main in a drought, and then grow the new hair roots, and so there's a constant flux of the amount of roots and organic matter around them. And I don't think it really makes a difference, plus or minus.
Okay,
It's
thank you. Okay, any other questions? All right, so our next meeting is on Mother's Day. And we don't have to worry about competing with the concert in the meeting room because we're going to be here on our Zoom. Jade, do you have any information at this point about, or Gary, about next month's presenter?
You're mute, Jade. Jade, you're mute.
All right. Okay. Yes, Laurel is going to do a presentation on an update on kalanchoes. I can't remember when she first did this presentation, but I remember I went out and she had a list of all these kalanchoes, and I went looking for different ones. And so this is going to be an update, and this is a plant that grows very well coastal and in our area. And it's really easy to propagate. I mean, too easy sometimes, but it's going to be a pleasure to have Laurel as our special guest on Mother's Day and kalanchoes. Thank you for doing that.
That's great. I remember you did a talk in the open area at South Coast one time.
Yep.
Yeah, she did it after she
The
did
patio.
it.
And
Right.
I bought a plant there, and it's still alive. It has little orange flowers.
Great.
Okay, for next month, our cactus plants are Coryphantha, Escobaria, and Acharagma. Is that how you say that? Acharagma. And our succulents are Dudleya and Cotyledon. Remember to send your pictures to Maria for the plant of the month, your garden pictures, your bragg plants, all of that by the Friday before the meeting, which would be May 7th. So she has time to do her work preparing the pictures for us. And next Saturday, you know, CSSA every other Saturday has these incredible webinars. People all around the world are joining them. I think sometimes we have between 500 and 700 people attending the Zoom, and superb. So next Saturday, it's going to be Julia Etter and Martin Kristen on Crassulaceae of the Trans-Mexican Volcanic Belt. And Mike will send us a link before then. And keep checking our website. There's all kinds of updates and interesting things that Mike sticks in there. So
Already been sent, actually. Okay, sorry.
You're ahead of us. Okay, so everybody, if you read the minutes on the website from last month's meeting, were there any corrections or additions? And if not, they stand approved. I have not gotten the treasurer's report from Bernard, so I assume we're fine. Any announcements, shared stories, things you want to celebrate?
I'm celebrating my second COVID shot.
Thank you again for having me. Thank you again.
Great job, Karen.
Thanks,
It was a
Karen.
great meeting.
Really good.
Thank you.
Really good.
Thank you for having me. See all you guys at some point in the future.
Take care.
Well, I guess the one news that, and Karen can add to this, is I saw a note the other day that the Inner City Show is still on schedule for the first weekend in August, I believe.
Second
Second
weekend.
weekend? Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm picking out my judges. I have a judges list I'm working on for our judges for the show.
That's
And
fine.
I expect to have expect to be a Zoom meeting here within the next couple of weeks with, so I'll keep everybody updated with what I know.
And
How long is the judges list?
I pick the judges every year for inner city.
But how many, how
So-
big is the list of possibilities?
Oh, I have a list that's real long. It's a couple pages long.
Oh, that's exciting.
Probably 40 or 50 names.
Yeah, so they have to have judges for succulents and then a separate set of judges for cactus because people do tend to specialize. And then she has to get a set of judges for the novice, another set for the intermediate, and another set for open or advanced. So it's
And then I need,
daunting task.
and then I need a tiebreaker, and then I need backups.
Yeah.
So I end up getting like 18 people every year.
Wow.
Hey, Karen, do you know on the flyer I saw, I think it only showed 2 days. Is that something normal or they trimmed it down? I thought it only showed 2 days for the Inner City show this time.
We're not sure exactly how it's going to work out.
Mm.
We're still, everything's still in kind of up in the air, and it could be canceled. It could go. We won't know right till the very end.
So right now the
up
flyers
until
are
the
showing,
date.
right now the flyers are showing, I think, Saturday and Sunday. Is that right? Or is it?
Yeah. Yeah. You bring in your plants. You bring in your plants on Friday. Set your plants up. Saturday and Sunday, it's open to the public. And then Sunday night, you bring them home.
And this is at the Arboretum.
This is at the Arboretum, and it depends on what the county wants to do.
Right.
I mean, it could be if we have a flush of cases, they may shut us down. So,
So wear your mask.
Yeah, and that's going to be part of it. All volunteers, all entrants, and all vendors must be vaccinated, be able to show proof of vaccination, and you'll wear a mask. And we have to be, because we're going to limit the amount of people in the show at any one time. There is not going to be a dinner. There's going to be no food. So it's going to be very different this year, but at least we'll have a show.
Okay, well, will we be setting up tables on Wednesdays and Thursdays like we normally do, or were they just trying to keep it down?
I don't
to 2
know.
days?
Scott, I don't know. At this
Okay.
point, at
Because
this
I've gone up and
point,
helped
like
before.
I said, we're going to have a meeting. Tom's going to set up a meeting for the people. So for the people that do things, and we'll figure out from there.
So
I
if,
really don't know what we're going to do.
so if we have a show, are we going to have the vendors like a plants and the pots coming to the show?
Yeah, we're not sure how we're going to set them up. So we will have vendors, and it'll be different. We just don't know how we're going to do it at this point. I just want to have a show so bad.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
at Sunset, we still have no idea. I have to talk to Gretchen about what we're doing and what Gretchen keeps in touch with Culver City.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. We thought maybe September for Sunset, but it just is so it probably won't be till next year.
Yeah, Kelly
And-
Griffin spoke. Kelly Griffin spoke at the Long Beach Club last week, and he said that San Diego's looking at next year, January, February, probably. That they don't
Yeah,
think they'll have to do anything through the summer.
Yeah, I personally, I don't see how we can do our shows this year until more people are vaccinated, number one. Number two, the flush of new cases goes down. I mean, from everything I read, they're already talking about we may have to have booster shots every year, like with
Oh, yeah.
flu.
Definitely.
So, I
I-
don't know. I would prefer to wait until next year for sunset. I don't know
Yeah.
about the rest of the board, but
I feel that way.
We have to wait till
yeah.
meeting space is available too.
I heard the booster
Yeah.
will probably- that the booster will probably be something that they haven't even formulated yet. It'll be something to take on the new versions as they come out. So
Yeah,
they said, yeah, we probably will have to get a booster in a year for this.
Well,
yeah. I would
foregoing a
prefer to
show,
wait.
go ahead. Foregoing a show, they're in at least, well, it's North Long Beach, southern part of Bellflower. They have been having pop-up sales. They had 2 in November, 2 in February. I think they may start occurring in later part of April and May. The last one I was at had 10 different vendors. Half of them were potters, half of them were cactus and succulent people. So if you're looking to buy plants, masks are required, but it's all open air. The vendors are all 30 feet apart or so. So I think it's fairly safe. But if you got the urge
how
to
it
buy
was
a plant,
yesterday.
I'll try to keep people up to speed and have it posted when I find out specific dates.
I will also let you know, LA is probably gonna, the LA Club is probably gonna have another pop-up like this weekend.
Right.
In June, mid-June. So, and
But it's just open, first come, first serve, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's a sale.
Well, some of
It's a
them,
sale.
some sales are doing appointments where they fill in time slots and they only allow so many people on the
I
property.
think Petra's
Well,
doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Petra does
LA,
that,
what
but not-
LA did was on Friday night, they had at the gate, they allowed 100 people in
Mhm.
and they sent them different directions. You go this,
Right.
so they didn't all rush to one table.
Right.
And then as people left, another person was allowed in.
Right.
So
Well,
they,
Petra's having her sales. She's their second one, and she's taking reservations where she only allows so many people in the first hour, and then you reserve an hour slot or an hour and a half to get in. And I heard a couple weeks ago, I haven't heard anything more about it, that San Diego was doing one like that, and I think they were requiring a $20 deposit that you could apply towards the purchase of the plants once you got in. But they wanted to make sure you were serious about coming. But I think they were taking reservations for
but that was it.
semi-closed.
That was an inside. That
Just
was an
for the club.
inside thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. At
Is that just for the club?
LA, it's an outside show.
Right.
Yeah, I mean an outside sale. So the vendors are separated. There's a lot of room, and I was pretty impressed by how it went yesterday. Because I was concerned. Everybody wore a mask, and it was pretty good.
Okay. Because I've been to a
So-
couple of them. Some of the people get a little too close, it seems like, around the tables. They're really
Right.
pressed in.
They limit the number of people at each individual
Oh, good.
booth
Good.
to 5.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because I've seen Gary's booth packed in and they're lined up 5 or 10 deep to pay. So,
Yeah, no,
Gary's on one side. He's safe because he's on the other side of the counter, but everybody on the other side is packed in trying to get to the stuff.
Right.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, so yeah, at LA it was 5 per booth.
that's fantastic.
Do you
That's
think we
workable.
should end the meeting officially and then continue chatting until Scott turns us off?
That's
Well,
fine.
I actually have to leave. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And
So much. That was so great.
Yes,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Bye, everybody.
In
Bye.
regards to Martin too.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
again.
Adios.
What a rich meeting.
That was good. It was
Felt like we really had an active, interactive, really productive meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That was super great. Great. That was
Well, if
really-
y'all want to
Good.
talk, I'll make someone else the host because I got to head out and get some work done in the yard.
I gotta go.
I do
Done
too.
5 hours today.
I don't.
Bye,
So
everybody.
good to see you.
Yeah, I'm leaving.